Okay, quick music disclaimer here. I do not own the rights to this music, which belongs to the rightful owner, who is the intoxicating mind of Dr. Frankenstein. So he made my intro and my outro, and I hope you guys enjoy. Check him out on Spotify and YouTube, and no copyright infringement is intended. Have a good day.
A clear choice of good versus evil, of right versus wrong.
Twisted Tales.
Welcome back to Ouch, Was That a Twist, folks? So tonight's tale, I have a guest. Her name is Liss from Ouch, Was That a Ghost? So she's going to join me in this whole collab here for this episode. I don't know, I enjoy doing episodes with her, so I'm just going to keep bugging her to do episodes with me. Hi,
Well,
Liz.
this is an honor. It's a privilege. I don't know. I'd like to thank my cats, always being there for me. I'd like to thank everybody that can say the word Massachusetts. Thank you for having me on, Chris.
Oh, no problem. It's great having, you talk to me from all the way from Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm. Massachusetts.
That's right. So this tale that we're going to talk about actually comes from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
What? There's a Dartmouth, Massachusetts.
Really?
Yeah.
See, look, we're almost the same. It's like we were meant to collab on podcasts together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty good place. Pretty good place. You want to hear more?
I do. I am so intrigued.
So this whole thing happened at Highfield Park. This is about 1 in the morning, and this was back in like 2011 here. So Dartmouth, you said you have a Dartmouth up in Massachusetts?
We do. That's what one of the UMasses is. UMass Dartmouth, and then there's UMass Amherst.
Oh, right on. So this whole Dartmouth place here is actually the Halifax Regional Municipality. Well, it's a community in there, and that's in Nova Scotia, Canada. So the whole place is founded back in the year 1750, ended up becoming incorporated as a city January 1st of 1961. So do you know when Dartmouth was incorporated? Where
I have no idea, but I know we have a Halifax here as well. I was actually there today.
what
Oh,
was
I just dropped a cracker.
5-second rule?
The struggles. But go on.
Now Dartmouth actually has a population of about 101,000 residents. So, pretty big spot. Now, tale goes,
I'm sorry, you said 101,000?
yeah,
Damn. All right, sorry, go ahead.
what population does Dartmouth have up there? Huh?
Nowhere near that.
Well then, I'll expect you to have that answer next pod.
Absolutely. It's on my homework list.
So, tale goes, police began to secure a first floor unit in an apartment building at 21 Highfield Park Drive, and they got reports that a man had been shot. So all these apartment buildings are like situated in like a vibrant part of Dartmouth, a residential neighborhood and shit. And all around the area here, it's just serviced by like public transportation, like buses and shit there, and it's actually located within like minutes of downtown Halifax. So downtown Halifax, pretty big spot too, way bigger than Dartmouth. So the apartment buildings there, they offer like low-rise buildings and shit. They offer up like bachelor to 3-bedroom apartments type deal, just to give you a feel of the apartments, I guess. But there's also like a lot of bad rap around this part of town too. It's actually considered undesirable due to like factors like poverty and higher crime rates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bad part of town kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's anywhere you go. You know what I mean? Like any place can be a bad place. I mean, I've been to Dartmouth. It's not that bad. But people in these areas, they might feel the need to like take a little bit of extra precautions and stuff too, right? It's also an area that's prone to heavier police presence. So, 34-year-old man that was shot, he was sent to the hospital with what police say were actually non-life-threatening injuries. Police didn't believe this whole attack was like random or anything. It was just definitely on purpose, right? Took the guy a few days to recover in the hospital and stuff, but he cooperated with police while he was resting there. He was shot in the upper body. He was taken to the QE2 with non-life-threatening injuries. And he was called in for a gunshot wound, which is a penetrating injury. I looked a couple things up here, Liz. It says in the United States, it averages like 30,000 hospitalizations in the U.S. per year due to gunshot wounds. Probably a
Mm-hmm.
lot of gunshots in the States and shit, right?
There are definitely a lot of gunshots out here and a
Yeah.
lot of gunshot wounds.
Oh, definitely. Okay. Now in Canada here, I checked that out as well because I wanted to be equal about things. You know, can't look up the United States, use facts from there, but not facts from fucking Canada.
I feel like you guys would have less because you're nicer.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, don't shoot me. Okay, I'm sorry. And in Canada here, the number of hospitalizations due to gunshots is roughly 2,860 hospitalization in males and say 309 in females. It's
Oh,
just a
that's
study.
way less.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's a pretty big ratio, right? But I mean, people get shot. People get shot. That's it. That's all. So the hospital here that this dude received care at, I called it the QE2. That means the Queen Elizabeth II Health Sciences Center. So what this is a multi-campus teaching and research organization that's located in downtown Halifax. Comprised of two separate campuses, mind you, the Victoria site and the newer Halifax Infirmary site. So the infirmary site's just like a modern building here that houses critical care and other specialized services, while the Victoria site's collected by like a bunch of other buildings like the General Hospital and Dixon Center. Do you want to know where it's at, Liz?
Do I want to know where it's at?
Yeah,
Sure.
it's located at 1796 Summer Street.
Oh, okay.
You're
Good to
welcome.
know. Good to know. Yeah, it just sounds like an average teaching hospital.
So when all this shit went down at Highland, the neighbors weren't really surprised to hear about like the shooting and everything. Stuff like this happens around the area. But like I said, shit happens all over the world, right? One tenant here got interviewed. I said it's normal for this neighborhood. Another tenant said that she feels her safety is compromised in the area because of the ongoing violence.
That's sad that they can't live in their own neighborhood and feel safe. And they just think that it's like normal for somebody to get shot. Nobody should live like that. That's insane.
That's pretty crazy.
Hmm? No, I'm
So it's
saying
pretty.
nobody should live in a neighborhood where they think it's like normal for somebody to get shot. That they're just like, oh, okay, that's fine. That's normal.
Another one said, I don't feel safe having my son in this neighborhood anymore. I never really did. And don't move here.
Oh my gosh.
Another tenant here said that the shooting here would prompt her to actually stick closer to her boyfriend as she feels safer. It's a scary area. You don't want to get involved in anything shit, goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So police did their investigation here. They had their forensic ID section over there and all that, just to figure out what happened. But, as time went on, I don't think anything came of it. And Buddy ended up living, so good for him. Now, there's also another separate incident around the same area here. So it was 1 October in 2010 when a 27-year-old pizza delivery driver was shot to death at an apartment nearby 15 Joseph Young Street. So this apartment was actually located next to Jason McCulloch Memorial Park. Oddly enough, named for the victim of a fatal shooting that was in the park about, a few years ago anyway, more than 10.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that actually still remains unsolved to this day too. It's fucking crazy how like one guy gets shot in the park, they name it after him, then somebody else gets shot around the same area. Like it's fucking crazy.
That's crazy that it's that far apart and nothing has been done to up. I don't know if they've upped patrols, but I'm assuming they haven't made that much of a difference if everything is still the same violence-wise.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking insane. So Halifax Regional Police were actually called to Highfield Park area about 9:25 p.m. They found the victim at a three-story apartment building on Joseph Young Street. His name was Chad Smith, and he was 27. He actually died at the scene from a single gunshot wound.
At only 27. He
Yeah,
didn't even live, man.
no. And upon police arriving at the scene, he had no pulse. Nearby was his red pizza delivery bag and a large bottle of pop. So he had no fucking chance. And the victim had a gunshot wound to the right side of his chest, which caused holes in his heart, lungs, and liver, and resulted in a fatal amount of blood loss. It's estimated that Smith died about a minute after being shot. That's sad.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. He was working, you know what I mean? He wasn't like hanging on the corner. Not that anyone that's doing that deserves it, but he was like going to work, actively working, and got shot to death. That's very sad.
Now, police were actually unable to determine how far away the shooter was and where he would have been standing when they fired the gun at the victim. His father, Steve Smith, said he was wicked nervous that Chad recently took the delivery job in the area, that he only took it to make some extra cash, because it was a really sketchy spot, right? He didn't want him working there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Chad was actually going to school, and he recently started the job at Panada Pizza. This is up in Dartmouth there, and their pizza shop's located at 68 Highfield Park.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just the place back there offers up like pizzas, Mediterranean food options and stuff, like donairs and stuff. I guess you guys call them kebabs, eh?
Donaires?
Yeah, like a beef kebab.
Yeah, I know what a kebab is.
Yeah, yeah, same thing, pretty much.
All
Well,
right.
yeah. Yeah, so anyway, he told the papers and everything, like, he's asking anybody who knows anything to come forward, right? He said, somebody knows something, they need to come forward and let police know of anything at all that they seen or heard.
Mm-hmm.
He did make a good comment here. He said it was 9:30 at night. So, I mean, there's still people out and about that time, that moving around that hour and stuff. So somebody knows what's up. I mean, 9:30 getting shot, it's fucking, there's going to be people up. It's not like it's going to be like 3 a.m. and shit,
Right.
you know. Chad Smith's mother, Louise, made mention that this was not God's plan for my son or my family. And Chad was a dude from Windsor Junction. This is a small suburban community in the Halifax Regional Municipality. Now, he had two daughters. They were 2 and 7 years old.
Ah.
Yeah. And his mom said that he picked this job up just to get extra money for his girls and stuff. And now they would have to grow up without their father, which is fucking tragic.
That's horrible.
Yeah. Police also searched half a dozen vehicles in the area. They brought in two forensic ID vans. They were on site and they were trying to gather up evidence. Police actually taped off the entire building, front and back. Police began questioning residents in the building and other surrounding areas as well. And they threw on some extra patrols and stuff too. This is like done by like police cars, motorcycles, bicycles, you know, cops on bikes and stuff. The old BMX. Wow.
Right.
Wow, what's so funny about bike cops?
They do have those. It's easier to
Uh,
get through parks and everything. You're not going to drive a car through a park. And if it is an active park, it's a good idea to have bicycle officers.
they serve a purpose and everything, right? They're not like
Yeah.
just like, hey, you're doing a shitty job, you're demoted to bike cop.
No, and officers get trained on something called Cobweb. It's like a bike training course that you have to do.
Oh, okay.
And they have to learn how to go up and down the stairs. So if you're on your bicycle, you have to be able to successfully go down the stairs or up the stairs in your bike,
On your bike.
on your bike.
Jesus Christ. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, you obviously have to do like a set of fucking tests and stuff, like go down, go up.
Yeah.
You have to have some power to go up the stairs, I would say.
Well, it's like a jump the front type thing. You know, when you were a kid, I'm sure you tried to go upstairs on a bike?
Yeah,
No? Ramps?
yeah. Same thing, huh?
Yeah, I've busted my face many a times as a child on a bike.
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like even the cops came together, like to say that they're putting their efforts behind everything, right? Trying to solve this. Because the community was asking questions and everything. It's like, hey, what happened to that Chad Smith guy?
Yeah. A
So,
young man, a young father of two, being
yeah.
murdered. I'm sure the neighborhood was in an uproar.
Oh, yeah. But police just try to assure people that, we're taking this very seriously, doing what we can.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, at one time, they were trying to figure out what type of firearm was used in the shooting and all that. Dr. Marnie Wood there, she did the autopsy on this. She actually showed up on the street that night there. That was October 23rd, 2010. So she performed the autopsy on Donald Chad Smith. So what her job is just to oversee like sudden, violent, and unexpected deaths, right? So I think she had like over the years like 2,600 autopsies, give or take. She said about 5% of those were homicides. I don't know if that's a good ratio or not.
I'm
Sounds
not
pretty.
sure.
It sounds a little bit up there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where things get a little twisty here. The two men that police looked into were Nathan Tremaine Johnson and Randy Desmond Riley. This was about 2.5 years later, give or take, after the crime had occurred, that police went out and started questioning them. Now both men were arrested July of 2013, and both were charged with first-degree murder in the death of Donald Chad Smith. So police ended up talking to some witnesses that night of the shooting, and also the two men. Now they also had a canine unit on the scene within minutes of that crime that night, and they had an eyewitness to the crime as well. So the eyewitness to the crime stated that they'd seen a dude fleeing the scene, and cops gave a description of what he was wearing. He said he was wearing like white pants, and that's all that Buddy could see because it was too dark out, and that they ran up some kind of pathway. So obviously the cops sent the dogs up the pathway and all that, and it was determined that Smith was lured to his death by Riley and his accomplice Nathan Johnson, who made the request for the pizza delivery. So the shootings happened as a result of a long-time standing grudge when an apparent beating some years earlier was given to Riley by Smith with a hammer. And I guess he still kind of held a grudge for that and went against him for it. Now, it also came up in the case that Chad Smith owed Johnson some drug money from long ago, and he called up Smith the night in question, trying to get the money back by robbing him. So, on the night of the murder, Johnson told his girlfriend at the time, this was one Caitlin Fuller, that he was present for the crime, but didn't know it was going to happen, and he ran away to hide the gun after it was over. And police ended up finding the sawn-off shotgun in like a sewage pipe there, a drain pipe. And this is the day after Smith's death. So it had two shells, one was spent and one was unspent. Also, in his conversation that night, he had put the blame solely on Riley and another man who was present. This was one Paul Smith. Nathan Johnson said, "I was scared I was going to get caught for this." And another man that was questioned, this was Paul Smith, because police got his name, so they went to check him out. And this guy had no relation to the victim whatsoever. So police picked him up, they questioned him, and he became part of the investigation and all the court shit that was now going to go on. This dude was actually a friend of Riley's, or an associate, or what have you. Now, the police arrived unannounced at his home in Calgary, Alberta, telling him that they knew what had happened in the case. So they suspected Riley for the murder, and they said they just wanted to help. So it was suggested that Paul drove Riley and Nathan to get the gun on October 23rd, 2010. So now, we kind of figured he was fucked. And with that, police said that he could either be a witness or an accused in this homicide investigation. Now, Paul Smith originally refused to cooperate with police until he himself was charged, and only then did he provide a statement incriminating Riley and Johnson. And he also provided a videotaped statement to the police, and this shit also went to court later on. So when court came up, Paul Smith testified on October 23rd, 2010, that around 7 p.m., he received a phone call from his close friend Riley, who was looking for a ride. Paul drove to Riley's girlfriend's home. This was located on Trinity Avenue and also in the Highfield Park area of Dartmouth. Now, Riley was waiting outside with a third party. This was Nathan Johnson. And then, upon instructions from Riley, Smith drove both men to an apartment building in Dartmouth near the Micmac Hotel. This is about 15 minutes away. And when they arrived at the apartment building, Riley exited the vehicle for approximately 5 minutes, and Nathan Johnson just stayed in the back seat shooting the shit with Paul Smith. So then Riley came back. He walked to the car. He was kind of limping, kind of like he had a bulge down his leg or whatever, right? And he said he wasn't sure what it was. So prosecutors started saying that it was the shotgun that was shoved down his pants. Now, Smith said that he had a problem with a white guy, and he was going to take care of it, right? Now, Smith explained that Riley knew where this guy worked, and he was going to deal with it. So he had to go get a gun or whatever, right? Smith said Riley put on surgical gloves and then gave another pair to Johnson to wear. So Smith explained that he drove back to Highfield Park and dropped off both Riley and Johnson at the Highfield Park bus terminal and then went home. He said all of this took about an hour's time. And then later that night, he went out alone to buy some smokes, and this is when he saw a bunch of police in the Highfield area, and he thought, oh shit, this really did happen, so he fucking shot the guy. Smith says the next day he received a phone call from Riley, who said the murder had to be done. Now, the latex gloves that were found in the scene that were said to be worn by Randy, they were tested for his DNA, and it was 100% excluded. So DNA being excluded means a genetic mismatch exists between the sample and the person being tested, ruling them out as the source of the DNA. Now, this result indicates that the individual's DNA was not the source of the DNA found at the crime scene, but obviously they still tried to use this against Riley in his trial. Now, Caitlin Fuller was another key witness that went on the stand. She was Johnson's former girlfriend, and she was 17 years old at the time of the murder. And let me tell you, she was full of shit, folks. Now, Fuller actually demanded money before agreeing to testify, and she would only get money if Johnson was convicted. So she gave evidence contradictory to what she told police, with details of her story changing over time, so she couldn't keep up with her changes. Nobody could believe her shit, right? So Fuller told the court that Johnson told her that he called the pizza place to be delivered to a blue building in the north end of Dartmouth, which was a place that Johnson had chose because it was close to the woods and to his aunt's house. So then she lied about Riley. She testified that he threatened to kill her and her brother when they met the day after Smith was killed. So she kept blathering on to the court here. And then, it all came out. She lied and then straight up had not spoken to Riley the day after the killing. So she made that up, she said. Now, it was said that Fuller had some financial motives to invent her recent story, and this was that. So the court was now a little bit weary on what she had to say, right? Like, well, we can't fucking believe her, right? So obviously the courts had a ton to think about, right? Especially the jury with all this fuckery going around. Now, during the Nathan Johnson court here, Nathan provided a full confession before the jury to the killing of Chad Smith. He told the courts that he dealt drugs in the Highfield Park area and had a shotgun stashed in the woods for security. This was behind Joseph Young Street in Dartmouth. And this is why he arranged to have a pizza delivered to that area. He explained that he had the gun when Chad Smith arrived at 15 Joseph Young Street to deliver the pizza. He approached Smith, put the barrel of the gun to his arm, and demanded the money that he owed him for drugs. So he described a short confrontation. The two men both froze a moment, and then Johnson started to put the gun down. Chad Smith turned to run. Then Nathan Johnson fired. He explained that he intended on shooting the victim in the arm. So he said, then he turned to run, so I shot, and then I just ran. He confessed to pulling the trigger intentionally. After the shooting, Johnson ran into the woods and then hid the gun into the drain pipe. He then ran to his aunt's house, this was nearby, and then changed out of his muddy clothes. And then he said he messaged his girlfriend, Caitlin Fuller. She came to pick him up. They returned to the residence in Halifax, and he spent the night there. He testified that he told Mrs. Fuller a cover story to divert responsibility from himself. He said he added Randy's name, he added Paul's name, and then basically I just blamed everything on them. Now, he reiterated to the Crown, however, that he was the only one involved in the death, and that Riley neither knew or participated in the homicide. So this dude was actually taking the blame for the whole thing. Johnson told the court that Riley had been in the same place that night, but Riley eventually went home while he went to go kill Chad Smith. So lawyers spent a considerable amount of time on this, going over evidence presented here. Now, with Nathan taking the full responsibility, they had to try to figure out what to do with Riley, right? Now, they also went over evidence presented by telecommunication expert Joseph Sadoun. Now, this is on like cell phone towers and shit. So they pinged Riley's phone the night of the murder, pinging a bunch of cellular towers. There was Clayton Park, Bedford, Franklin Court, and East Preston. These were all pinged here. And when mapped out, they kind of argued that the web of the cell phone use came more closely with Paul Smith's account of the night rather than Johnson's. But even then, Paul Smith was full of shit too, because he later on recanted his story too. So courts, had to continue on for a couple of weeks. It's like, fuck, Caitlin Fuller's lying, Paul Smith is lying. Nathan confessed to the crime. Like, what the fuck, right? Now, Paul Smith was also given $18,000 for his testimony in the earlier cases, and he used the money to relocate to Alberta, Canada with his girlfriend. So that's when he lived in Alberta when the cops went to go question him. Now, Riley actually dismissed a bunch of his lawyers and shit here too, which also delayed shit. So yeah, this whole shit went on for like a couple years. Now, Johnson was found guilty in first-degree murder in 2015. He was convicted for his role in the killing and is serving a life sentence with no parole for 25 years, as he took full responsibility for the crime. And Johnson was asked if it bothered him that Riley, his friend, was being charged with a murder that he wasn't responsible for. Johnson said, I don't care about Randy. Fuck Randy. He said, it was more of a beneficial relationship than a friendship. He's like, we were friends, but there's friends that you can just use, right? Now, Riley was in jail for a little bit of period of time here. He was convicted of second-degree murder in April 2018 and for a weapons charge related to the sawn-off shotgun. So he was sentenced to life with no parole for 15 years. Now, under the law, two people can be guilty of first-degree murder even if only one pulled the trigger. So Riley was initially charged with first-degree murder, but was convicted of a lesser charge. Now, during his sentencing, his hearing, all that, Riley repeated his claim of innocence and said that he was found not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, Riley just pleaded not guilty of the first-degree murder charge and for the weapons charge. And like I said, by this time, he was incarcerated for about 7 years and 8 months by this time, since his original arrest back in 2013, I believe. However, a Nova Scotia Supreme Court ordered a new trial for him. This was issued in 2020. Now, after the new trial, he still faced injustice. In December of 2020, he applied for bail only, and he was stonewalled by the Crown once again. So they countered his offer or application, whatever. And then Riley decided to remove his lawyer. Now, he made a little speech here. He said, "Before I want to get into what I want to say, I want to express the fact that no matter how I feel about the outcome of this verdict, the most important thing here is the fact that your family lost more. No matter how I feel about the outcome of this trial, no matter how, even as my lawyer goes through the process of appeal, you guys have lost a loved one." So he was talking to the family. And he said, "I want you to know that I acknowledge that, and I believe that that's the most important thing here." He also said, "From the beginning of this case in 2013, when I was arrested, I believe that the Crown was set out seeking justice on your behalf." And he said that they set out by any means necessary to win. "So that's how I see it," he said. So he proclaimed his innocence and then appealed the charges. Now in October 2023, a jury found him not guilty after, Nathan Johnson recanted his testimony and shit and said he was just him that did the crime. So Riley was set free after his lawyers dealt with a bunch of lawyer shit. The jury took less than 4 hours to find Riley not guilty. Riley was also found not guilty on the charge of illegally possessing a firearm. And now Riley's lawyer, this was one Trevor McGeegan, says that his client was released after a hearing in a provincial court on the previous charges of breaching bail, impaired driving, and resisting arrest in relation to an incident on October 1st. McGeegan says his client's bail had been revoked due to these charges, but after the verdict, the provincial court arranged to have a hearing moved up, and Riley was released. And that's it, folks. One goes to jail, and the other's set free. So I'll continue on with a little bit more here.
Now, Devin Smith, it's his brother, they also talked about, like, how all the grief got to the parents, and they ended up divorcing here, because, like, it just took a lot of family fucking strain, right?
Right.
And that was it. Last thing here. It was also said that Riley has prospects for rehabilitation and that he's completed a number of programs on the inside. He was currently enrolled in, sociology courses through Mount St. Vincent University. So, yeah, I guess he did what he did on the inside. Now he's free. So, one guy's in jail, one guy's out. Fair enough.
Mm.
Weird tale, huh? How it kind of twisted, I guess.
Yeah. It sucks that two little girls had to grow up without their dad. And for what?
Yeah, bullshit. Alright, and last tale here. Now, this is one Saturday night on October 6th of 2010. A dude named Donald Jermaine Stevenson was gunned down in front of his own family.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was, like, gunned down by, like, this fucking dude in a mask or whatever. This is on 39 Jarvis Lane in the city's north end. It's actually the second slaying in 3 months on that street.
Damn.
Now, he was like 21. His date of birth was March 10th, 1989. Officers arrived there at 8:06 p.m. They located Donald Stevenson suffering from a gunshot wound, which was apparently fatal. Investigators believe that a man wearing a skull mask and some dark clothing had entered the residence. He fled on foot. He headed northbound across Duffus Street onto Dartmouth Avenue. Then he got into the passenger seat of a silver SUV that was waiting for him not too far down the road. Now that vehicle left northbound on Dartmouth Avenue, turning onto Rector Street, and went in an unknown direction. $150,000 was actually offered up for anyone that could give info that could lead to the arrest or the conviction of this person responsible for the homicide. And the reward is payable in Canadian funds. It appears that the shooter knew where to go, where he was going, and who he was looking for. And investigators just hope that the money that was given could help solve his murder, right?
Right.
And that's never too late to come forward. They also said, like, even the smallest piece of info could be just what's needed to solve this case. Now, a neighbor ended up saying that he's horrified at all the recent violence that's going on. All this shit's happening in Dartmouth. He said, nobody just gets shot in front of their family or shot in front of their friends. It's just an awful thing. Bullets don't have names on it, he said. A stray bullet can also hit a child, it's like 4 or 5 years old or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he just was going on about the whole community here and saying there's a lot of unrest growing in the neighborhood. Obviously, because people still just get fucking shot, right?
Right. That's horrible.
Now, the police, they were on the scene for a while. They kept several blocks, blocked off, searching for evidence. A forensic team dug up a grassy bank in front of the house there. Investigators went through the soil and everything. They passed a metal detector over the mounds of dirt.
Mm-hmm.
They interviewed Stevenson's relatives. Police would not say how many shots were fired or where Stevenson was hit. And an autopsy went underway, and they called this whole thing a homicide. And just, 21's too fucking young to die, right? I mean, fuck.
Absolutely.
That other guy was 27, right?
Yeah.
And also, a little known fact here, his family and close friends actually nicknamed this dude Ducky. And it's just unfortunate because this case went on over the years too and became a cold case and nothing ever came from it.
Just needs one little break in the case, though, and hopefully maybe somebody that's listening right now knows something and can share it anonymously, whatever, to get the case rolling.
Exactly. I hope they figure this out.
Yeah.
And with that, folks, that's just our little short tale here that we had for you guys, and hope you guys enjoyed. And have yourself a wonderful day, guys. Thanks for joining me, Liz. It's been awesome as always.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I did my hair for this whole thing.
Wonderful.
Yes, got the curlers in and everything.
Oh, good.
Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you have yourself a fantastic night.
You as well.
Take care, buddy.
All right.
Twisted Tales.